2, 3, 4.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Hauntological Society podcast, the place where we talk about ghosts, Bigfoot, UFOs, cryptids, all kinds of strange shit. and here with me today, my right hand lady, my best friend, my baby mama, my bed recorder, my insert everything wonderful.
Wendy.
That's right. That's Wendy. How's it going, Wendy?
It's going. How's it going, honey bunny?
It's kind of weird because we're recording like twice in 1 week. I'm not used to doing this.
Yeah, well, changing schedules calls for changing plans.
Yeah, I gotta do it up. So that way you John Q listener don't miss any episodes.
That's right.
So what's been going on in this past couple of days that we haven't recorded?
Well, my buddy went back to work. Been home with me for 6 months. Out on an injury, and I've really enjoyed it. Got used to it, and now he's gone.
That's right. I am back in the workforce.
And so, maybe the first day of just like, you know, a day of like not, I don't know, like inside self-care day or whatever, but yeah, that grew boring very quickly, so it's going to take some time to get used to, but
Never fret. I have half day on Friday, so and
yes,
when the weekend's coming. You know what they say? Everybody's working for the weekend.
I'm not working for, well, you're working for it, but I'm waiting for it.
So today's episode, I got a couple of things planned. It's going to be the usual like format stuff that we do. None of that's going to change. But I am going to add something a little new today. I don't know that I'll do it every single time, but I think every once in a while it'll be fun to kind of pop this in just to see if it happens. So I was sitting around last night or the other night, and when I was writing this episode, and I was like thinking, I think it would be cool to kind of add in some sort of paranormal news for this week and just sort of see what's going on in the world of paranormal. And so I did a little like I put some feelers out, sent my tentacles out into the world, and see what came back. And I found a couple of things. And so I just thought it'd be fun to just sort of mention what's happening in the world of the paranormal of the world.
Okay,
What you think?
I think it's great.
All right. So first thing we got going on, I have a little article that I want Miss Wendy to read for you. Why don't you go ahead and spit that on out?
Okay, Denver's historic, seemingly haunted lumber baron inn for sale.
Yes.
The historic Lumber Baron Inn in Denver's Highlands neighborhood just hit the market for a whopping $3.2 million.
I'll take two.
Yes, but the buyer should probably be comfortable with things that go bump in the night.
I am.
State of Spooks. The 3-story Victorian mansion, currently operating as a bed and breakfast and event space, has earned a reputation as one of the city's most haunted landmarks. Its eerie charm has drawn ghosts, hunters, and even landed it on a Netflix paranormal series.
Hell yeah.
Flashback. Lumber magnate John Muat built the property in 1800 for his wife and 5 children, but tragedy struck early. His 10-year-old son was fatally stabbed inside the home by a grocer,
Jesus.
according to History's Colorado Rachel Storm.
So the guy was bringing groceries and stabbed his son?
Apparently, yes.
Wow.
Jesus.
I just said that.
Then came the Panic of 1893, which tanked the market and Mowat's fortune. Uh, in the 1970s, during the building stint as an apartment complex, two young women were murdered in a double homicide that remains unsolved. The big picture, since then, whispers, phantom ghost deaths, and ghostly apparitions have become part of the mansion's mystique. Shared by owners, guests, and paranormal tourists alike. You're definitely know they're here, but it's not scary. Outgoing owner Joe Bryant told E! News last year about the girl's spirit. I love it when they interact with me and say hi to us. What's next? The future is up to the buyers. They could convert it back into the private home, but its transferable cabaret liquor license, a coveted and hard to obtain perk, makes it especially appealing for those looking to keep the business running. Olivia Valone, spokesperson for the listing agent, tells us the bottom line: whoever takes the keys will inherit a rare piece of Denver history and a few roommates,
Nice.
forever roommates.
They are forever. So the stock market crash of 1893. I looked up what caused that. It was oversaturation of railroad industries and a couple other markets that scared the U.S. economy into panic. So the Dow Jones dropped, and there was some weird things about foreign trade going on as well. So that's what caused that panic.
Oh, maybe like the new tariffs.
No, this is in
I
1893.
know, I know. I'm just
That's
fucking
funny
with
though.
you.
Surprisingly, the economy did recover. This is a little side note. And in 1930, no, when did the Great Depression? 20s? No, the 30s, when the Great Depression happened, there was they introduced the Hawley Smoot tariffs, and it caused a huge ruckus that crashed the economy that brought on the Great Depression. Just a little side note. And that Hawley Smoot tariff is actually mentioned in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that weird?
That is very weird.
That's just a weird, like, little side knowledge for you there. Yeah, so that haunted mansion, that story comes from me, from a good friend of mine who just happens to live in Denver. I speak to him occasionally.
Occasionally.
I've known him for a few days. His name is Kelly. So thank you, Kelly. I appreciate everything you do. Thank you for sending that to me. What was that look for?
You've known him for a few days. Are we talking about the same person?
Yeah, Kelly.
Few days, my ass.
Okay, I'm trying not to out myself. Okay,
Okay.
I've known Kelly for 40 years. Okay, I talk to him about every other day on the phone for about 15 minutes.
Every day for hours.
I can't help it. The dude's my best friend. Just one of those things. Yeah. So he's stuck in Denver, but he sent me that. He started listening to the podcast. He sent me that article.
Does he live near the mansion?
It's possible. I know he lives right down the street from the Molly Brown house, which is also very haunted.
Okay.
Molly Brown was on the Titanic when it sank. She
Yeah.
did not die. It's the unsinkable Molly Brown.
Okay.
Yep. And if I'm not mistaken, I think she was also on the Lusitania. It happened to her twice. She was on two boats that sank, and she lived both of
And I don't think I would ever get back on one.
them. That's why history calls her the unsinkable Molly Brown.
Jeez.
And she was extremely wealthy. Okay, so I got a few more things here for paranormal news. Thank you, Wendy. That was wonderful.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Next thing. So I don't have any in-depth like articles, but they just kind of gave like a roundabout, like, hey, here's what might be going on. So I'm just sort of give you some little feelers, and you can go research it if you want to. I just thought it'd be fun to mention it. Honorable mentions. In England, the royal residences are known to be haunted. A recent documentary claims that all British royal residences are haunted. Notably, King Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth II reportedly saw the ghost of Elizabeth I at Windsor Castle, and Prince William himself was warned about a ghost at Anmer Hall and said to be haunted by a 16th century Catholic priest.
Hmm.
Yeah. Might do some royal hauntings in the future. That sounds like a pretty good idea for a future episode.
Yeah.
We could do a deep dive into that.
Maybe we could go investigate it ourselves.
Yes. More on that later. Okay, moving on. UFO sightings in Thailand. Villagers near Thailand's Kala Hill, Kalkala, I don't speak Thai, I'm sorry. I hope I'm mentioning that right. Kalkala Hill claimed frequent UFO sightings and even telepathic communications with extraterrestrials. A blogger's recent investigation into these claims has brought renewed attention to the area, often referred to as Thailand's Area 51. That's intriguing.
Is this recent?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
This supposedly has been going on, and it's just like what popped up in the paranormal news. I would like to know more about what these telepathic communications are.
Well, I was just going to say that, but I was going to let you finish. That's pretty interesting. I mean, how are they telepathically?
But it's not uncommon. A lot of times, people who have contacts with aliens or extraterrestrials or interdimensional beings, whatever they are, they often report telepathic communications
Through dimensions and
sometimes
planet.
sometimes when they're abducted, the entity won't even speak to them through their mouth. They just speak through their telepathically. So they communicate without ever talking.
Okay.
So it's not uncommon. And a couple weeks ago, we did the Whitley Strieber episode.
Yes.
He's even mentioned getting telepathic downloads without even being near the entity.
So, when they're receiving telepathic information, are the crafts in the sky or landed nearby, or is this like from wherever they're grounded?
It's not coming from the craft. It's coming from the entity.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, either one. I think Willie's come from. they're probably up in the sky.
Okay. Yeah, that's what like on their planet or whatever.
There is a contactee named Chris Bledsoe who claims that he can have telepathic communications just going outside and looking at the sky. He also claims that he can summon them, and he produces videos that he puts up like almost every single night.
Is this the guy that was on Paranormal Caught on Camera?
Yes.
Okay.
Him and his son?
Yes.
Yes. He's from North Carolina. He lives in Fayetteville, I believe.
Okay.
And he asked anybody who wants to experience it to come down, and he does retreats and will summon them and let them see for themselves.
And possibly be abducted while you're there.
Well, no one that I know has been claimed to have been abducted, but they definitely go down and see some lights flash in the sky.
Okay.
And they'll like shine lights up there, and they flash back like in communication.
Awesome.
Yeah, what I said. Okay, moving on. Urban legends in Queensland, Australia. It's rich in Queensland, Australia is rich with urban myths, including the mysteries of Min Min lights near Bulia and various ghost sightings along the Bruce Highway. Recent reports also include encounters with cryptids like Yowie and the big cats across the state. The big cats they're referring to are the thought to be extinct thylacine. You ever seen that?
No.
There's a famous video, and it's the last known documented video of a thylacine. It's a tiger lion type creature that was native to Australia.
Okay. Like a liger?
Kind of like a liger, but it's not actually a mix between a tiger and a lion.
Okay.
But it's the Australian version of a big cat. They have like a very interesting look to them. I think their tails, like the ass end of it with the tail, is kind of striped, and the rest of the body is more like a tan color, like a lion or something.
Okay.
And they're almost like the color of like a dingo or something. And then they caught one, and it was held captive in the early 1900s. There's a video of it, and then it passes away in captivity, and that was thought to be the end of it. People to this day still claim to see the thylacine people have recordings on ring cameras or something outside their house where they capture a cat and they found footprints and everything else. But apparently, scientists and everybody else are looking for it. Has yet to be confirmed, but a lot of reports are saying that it's still around.
Well, hopefully they'll leave it around because I really hate to see him being held captive.
Yeah, I think they captured that one to try to save it because it was going extinct. They knew that the numbers were dwindling, and they were trying to take care of it, and it died in captivity,
Okay.
which is sad. But
It is very sad. I hate that.
from all the evidence that I've seen and all the videos I've seen and stuff, I kind of believe that it could still be around. Much like people in North America report the Black Panther.
Yes.
Do you remember when I recorded that black cat behind the house?
Yes.
That was crazy. I wish I could find that video. It was huge, and me and Gabe were standing on the hill back here, and it was like down near the creek, and it looked like it was big on the camera.
Mhm.
So I wonder if that was like a like an
Like
Black Panther.
possible.
Um, now this next guy, he's kind of an important figure, and so I did do a little deep dive on him because I think he is worth mentioning. Jesus Christ, not Jesus Christ. He died a couple thousand years ago. Joe Nickel passes away, and if you don't know, he was a renowned paranormal investigator. Joe Nickel, known for his skeptical approach to investigating paranormal claims, passed away at the age of 80. He was celebrated for his thorough and respectful investigations into various mysteries, including ghost sightings and cryptids. Joe Nickel was a longtime investigator for the Committee for a Skeptical Inquiry, the CSI, tackled many famous paranormal and mysterious cases during his career. Rather than debunking, he preferred to explain claims through historical research, forensic science, and critical analysis. Here are some of his most infamous or well-known investigations. What are you looking up, by the way? I was going to say, look up the video of the dialer scene while
Okay.
I'm talking. All right. First off, Joe investigated the Shroud of Turin. You know what that is?
The what?
The Shroud of Turin,
I've heard of that. Yes.
the supposed burial cloth of Jesus, speaking of
Yes.
Jesus,
Yes.
has the image of what looks like a man who was crucified, resembling modern day depictions of Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Joe's conclusion: he reproduced the image using medieval techniques and arguing that it's a 14th century artistic forgery rather than a miraculous relic. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he might be the guy who took a like an iron mask, laid a cloth over top of it, and then took a flame and kind of burnt it, like singed the edges, and
Uh-huh.
it gave an image of like a face because you make the face in iron, and when you put it on the cloth and you kind of singe the edges, and when you take it off, it looks like the face of the man is in the cloth.
Well, the fabric probably sticks to the metal,
Yeah.
and it gives it more definition.
What's interesting
Detail.
about the Shroud of Turin is when people X-ray it, the X-rays almost appear 3D images, like 3D images or whatever, like they come off the cloth. Yes,
It's a creepy thing.
yeah, and when he recreated his, it actually did sort of give that same appearance.
Hmm.
Interesting. I like.
Very.
I'm not a religious guy, but I do like the story of the Shroud of Turin for whatever reason. I think it's interesting. Okay, moving on. He also investigated the Bell Witch from Tennessee. The claim is a powerful spirit tormented the Bell family in the early 1800s, um, cursing, cursing the family, cursing the land. That's a good little deep dive. Nick's conclusion, son of a bitch. Nick's conclusion was it was attributed to exaggeration, local legends, and possibly pranks by family members or neighbors. So he did not believe the Bell Witch story. He investigated the Amityville horror case, and I'll go ahead and tell you it was a hoax. Claims are that the house was haunted and inspired books and films, most notably after there was a murder in the house of the Soto family, I believe. The Lutzes moved in after, and George Lutz claimed that there was a talking pig. There was a talking pig at one point. Lots of weird claims, but
'Cause that's why it went to prison, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Eventually, there was 4 people murdered in the house. Um, And this is one of those. It's the famous one where the Warrens got involved. But it came out later on, and this is true story. This is true. It came out later on that the Warrens kind of co
Hoaxed,
yeah, came up with the idea.
coerced.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Coerced the idea with an author as a way to push book sales to make
Make
money off
money.
of. Yeah,
That's shitty.
yeah, it was pretty shitty. The Warrens did stuff like that a lot. Mostly Ed, I believe, was the instigator.
I was going to say, I guess I thought more highly of Lorraine.
Lorraine doesn't seem to be such a bad person. I think she just feeds off of Ed. I
Well.
think Ed is like the one that likes to poke the bear, and she will hang the meat from the stick, so to speak. I do like Lorraine. I don't have any bad thoughts for Lorraine, though. We'll have to get into this later, but there is this weird thing where they were sort of grooming an underage girl for Ed's benefit. It gets real nasty. It's
Are
terrible.
you serious?
Yeah, it's a horrible thing.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother.
That's a whole nother thing. I feel some sort of way about them. They're not the people that they claim to be, unfortunately. Okay, but I'm sorry I keep
Getting sidetracked.
hacking in your ear. It's the stupid allergies are getting me. Okay, number 4. He also investigated Bigfoots and cryptids, claimed sightings of Bigfoot and monsters like Champ and other creatures. Nick's conclusion explains sightings as hoaxes, misidentifications, or folklore-driven exaggerations. I disagree. Bigfoot is real. Champ is real. Nessie is real.
Chimp.
Mhm.
Chimp is real.
From Lake Champlain. It's the American Loch Ness monster.
Okay. All right.
He investigated the Roswell UFO incident. The claim was a crashed alien spacecraft, perhaps containing bodies. Nichols' conclusion was that he supported the theory that it was debris from a declassified balloon project called Project Mogul, not extraterrestrial in nature. I disagree with that also. that debris field was over 2 miles long. And it actually crashed in Corona, and it was you could actually see where it was skipping as it was hitting the ground and spraying debris everywhere.
Crash landing, that maybe.
Kind of like this when it come down, hit the ground, went up, went down. A balloon does not give out that much debris. I don't care how big the balloon is, you're not going to get that much debris. Also, I can go on these little tangents all day long, but the farmhand who
Yes, you
found
can.
the farmhand who found the balloon or found the debris field on those farms in New Mexico and stuff, they used balloons for their own purpose, for weather, like weather testing or check on their livestock. I mean, they had purposes that they used balloons for, so they were familiar with balloons themselves, the type that was used in Project Mogul. So he would have known what a balloon was.
Okay.
Also, balloons don't carry little small childlike figures. I'm just saying.
Did he find small childlike figures?
Yeah.
I thought it was a hoax.
Who said it was a hoax?
Never mind.
Joe Nichols said it was a hoax. It wasn't a hoax.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's not a hoax. It was real.
Okay.
Roswell is real. Okay. And Roswell was not the only UFO crash that happened in the area. There were multiple UFO crashes around Roswell at that time. He investigated Stigmont. The alien bodies went to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base after they were sent to the Roswell Air Force Base. Just want to put that out there as well.
Okay.
There is a morgue attendant who testified that the military called them and asked them for 5 child-sized coffins ASAP. Anyway, moving on. Joe Nichols investigated stigmata and miraculous healings. The claim is the physical signs of Jesus Christ's crucifixion appearing spontaneously on individuals. Nichols' conclusion was it was suggested self-inflicted wounds, psychosomatic effects, or religious fervor as explanations. Some of those, yes, I believe that. There is this one where this lady is just god awful bleeding. Like, it is maddening how much she's bleeding. She's like wrapped in cloth, and blood is like pouring from her arms. And it spells out words. It draws pictures. Like I think once it actually drew pictures of the city she was living in. I mean, it's nuts.
Wow.
Yeah. Once again, I don't consider myself religious, but I don't know what the fuck that was, but that was weird.
Right.
He investigated ghost photographs and EVP. The claims are, you don't know what those are, supernatural presences captured on film or audio. EVP being the audio. Nichols' conclusion demonstrated how photographic anomalies, environmental words, pareidolia could produce such evidence. Agree and disagree.
Okay.
Yes, I think there are some natural explanations for ghost and paranormal photographs. No, I do not believe all of them are fake. Also, EVPs, I've captured some myself. Uh, some of them can be explained through radio waves or white static that could sound like voices. But when they answer your questions or speak to you directly, saying your name and specific instances that you're surrounded by, those are not fake.
Correct. I would agree.
Also, he investigated the Myrtles Plantation, which is a famous haunted house in Louisiana, considered one of the most haunted houses in America. And Nichols' conclusion found no credible historical basis for many of the stories, like the ghost of Chloe, who is supposedly a slave who had worked on the property. People have found photographs of her. They're famous photographs of Chloe from Myrtle's Plantations, multiple photographs. The most famous one is probably her like between the house and like like a garage or like an outbuilding, but she's
Hmm.
sort of standing in between it, and she looks like she's wearing like a field dress with a headgear. People claim, and they call her Chloe. She has been seen a lot. He claims she was fake. The truth is, there is no true documentation for Chloe ever existing, but I think we all know that they probably did not keep the best of records, especially when it came to people who were in captivity. So who knows?
So he basically was going around and shutting down all claims of anything other than common sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly what he was doing.
Okay.
Which I don't disagree with his method, but I disagree with some of the things he said. Not everything is false, and not everything is true. So I think it's good to be skeptical to an extent, but at the same point, you also have to realize that there are things out there that cannot be explained, and it's worth looking into those further without trying to just prove it for the sake of proving it. You must follow the evidence.
Right. And it could have maybe just been for attention. Or,
I mean, even J. Allen Hynek, who worked for Project Blue Book, was told that he would like the Air Force would tell him, "This is an owl. This is the planet Jupiter. This is this," and he would be forced to go and give a press conference and say, "These people did not see a UFO or a extraterrestrial. What they saw was a woodland barn owl perched in top of an oak tree."
well,
And that would have to be his explanation. Or uh, one of the more famous explanations he gave was swamp gas. Some of the lights or craft they saw in the sky were supposedly swamp gas.
but I imagine if he would have went against that, he could have, faced some pretty serious repercussions.
He was a civilian. He wasn't a military guy. He worked at university. He just happened to work for the Air Force. Well, eventually, though, it led him to quit Project Blue Book because he kept saying, "I don't want to do this. You're embarrassing me because this is bullshit." And by the time he left Blue Book, he was a 100% believer.
But did he not also get approached by the Men in Black several times
I believe he did
about?
have experiences with the Men in Black, yeah.
Yeah.
But he did. He came out as a true believer, and then afterwards he went against his own words and said the things that the military made him say was not true. That he did not believe that UFO was an owl or this or that. He came out and said that he 100% believed that somebody from another planet had come here to visit, and he's got proof. Love J. Allen
Project Blue Book.
Hynek. Yeah, he ended up being one of the good guys. So that being said, that's all our paranormal news today. Hope you guys liked that little segment, and I think that is a good segue into what we're going to talk about today. I didn't know what I was going to do for this episode, but after looking around and kind of like putting out the feelers, give it a little tickle, give it a little pinch, I come across this. And this is a famous case.
Okay.
We're going to talk about some UFOs. How about that segue from J. Allen Hynek to UFOs?
When it just faded right in.
This it did, and I did it. I did that absolutely on purpose. I meant to do that. And if you believe that, then you need to go talk to Joe Nichols. This is one of the most well documented UFO cases. It's one of the most famous ones. It's right up there along with Roswell. And it's actually one of the first ones, or one of the ones that the government has actual documentations about, including declassified material.
Okay.
This happened in 1976, and it's called the Tehran UFO encounter. And bear with me because I wrote a little tale about it. Tonight, we turn our gaze skyward. Our destination, Tehran, Iran, 1976. When do you put your burqa on?
My burger. Oh,
Burqa.
my burger. Gotcha.
This is the story of an encounter so bizarre, it's so well documented, it's so disturbingly unresolved that it remains one of the most credible, confounding UFO sightings in modern history. This is the Tehran UFO incident, a case that shook the Iranian military, baffled U.S. intelligence, and challenged the very boundaries of what we call known. Now, on September 18th, 1976, Tehran, it began like so many of these stories do with a single phone call. Around 10:30 p.m. on the night of September 18th, 1976, the Tehran police received several reports of a bright, glowing object in the sky. Civilians in the Shemirian district near the foothills of the Albors, Albors Mountains described a large, intensely luminous object hovering silently and darting through the night air with impossible speed. The control tower at Mehrabad International Airport was alerted. Radar operators and flight personnel scanned the sky and verified this was no conventional aircraft. By 12:30 a.m., the Imperial Iranian Air Force scrambled an F-4 Phantom jet from Sharoki Air Base, a U.S.-supplied interceptor. The pilot, Lieutenant Yadi Nazari, was ordered to intercept and investigate this aircraft. But as he approached the object, which he described as glowing so brightly it lit up the sky, his aircraft's instrumentation suddenly failed. His radio went dead, his cockpit lights flickered. With control systems compromised, he turned away. But almost immediately as he turned away, his systems returned to normal. This is not a coincidence. A second jet piloted by the seasoned Major Parvez Jafari was launched shortly after, and his story became almost the centerpiece of this event. As Major Jafari closed in on the object, he described it as rectangular in shape, radiating intense, multicolored lights, blue, green, red, and orange, arranged in a rectangular pattern. Through binoculars, he noted the object appeared metallic, but it moved with grace and speed far beyond any known aircraft. By the way, and he's seeing all this from 25,000 feet in his jet.
That's crazy.
And then the object released a smaller glowing orb that began to close in rapidly on Jafari's jet. Thinking it was a missile, Jafari tried to fire his AIM-9 Sidewinder missile, but in that moment, just like Nazari before him, his weapon systems failed. Everything went dead. Radios, HUD, targeting. The fighter jet was flying blind. He turned back toward the base. The orb veered off and returned to the larger craft, which then accelerated upward and vanished at an impossible speed. On his descent, Jafari saw yet another glowing object descended from the sky and land gently on the ground near Ray, a small town outside Tehran. Locals later confirmed seeing a bright flash in the same area consistent with an object landing, and yet no wreckage or explanation was ever found.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
A large metallic rectangular object. I would probably shit my pants if I saw like that object break off and come flying after me.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that they just turn around and flee.
Yeah.
Versus maybe, I don't know, trying to make communication. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, and they're not even, they're flying in like, U.S. like made, military equipment. So it's not like they're up there in like some rinky dink crap or
Right,
nothing.
right.
Like so what makes the Tehran incident so uniquely compelling isn't just the testimony of the two trained military pilots. That's the other thing. This is military. These are trained professionals, people who know what to look for in the sky. If he's flying a U.S. military jet, he's probably trained by the U.S. military. So they're some of the best in the world. um, it's not just compelling. Isn't just the testimony of the two trained pilots. It's the corroborating radar data and eyewitness accounts from both civilians and military personnel. I love that. That's a Jeremy Corbell line if I ever heard one right there. You got military and civilians seeing the same thing. They're reporting the same thing. All the stories line up,
And they're willing to say that
and that means
they've
something.
seen it.
Something was
Yeah.
probably there. Yeah. Both Tehran Air Traffic Control and the Imperial Iranian Air Force confirmed the unidentified object on radar. The flight controllers observed several radar blips corresponding with Jafari's report of multiple objects, including one that chased him. Technical logs showed no mechanical issues with either aircraft prior to the incident. The power and communication failures occurred only when the aircraft neared the unknown object and returned the moment distance was created. So, whatever it was interfering with their instrumentation.
Which would be scary because what if it like prevented your craft from flying?
Yeah.
And you just crash.
I mean, there's multiple reports of like them like shutting off their craft in the middle of the sky, shutting down missiles in the middle of the sky, shutting down our radar systems. I mean, it happens. It's crazy. What makes the Tehran incident so uniquely compelling isn't the testimony. Did I just read that? Man, it is so good I had to mention it twice. But it's also the corroborating radar data and eyewitness accounts for both civilian and military. Let that sink in. I had to say that twice for you to understand how important that was.
Noted.
Yes. Just know that. This event occurred under the watch of the Imperial Iranian regime. Then at that time was a U.S. ally under the Shah. It did not go unnoticed by the United States. A now declassified Defense Intelligence Agency report dated October 1976 entitled Iranian Air Force Intercepts UFO describes the encounter as a classic UFO case. This is an excerpt directly from the report. The object was of such brightness that it was clearly visible from 70 miles away. This case is a classic that meets all the criteria for a valid study for the UFO phenomenon. Multiple witnesses, visual and radar sighting, electromagnetic interference, physiological effects on the crew, and a credible pilot with high military rank. The DIA, the NSA, and even the CIA received copies of this report. Though some documents remain redacted, the paper trail proves one thing. This was no hoax, and the United States knew about it. That happens a lot. According to the subsequent declassified CIA cables, the American defense community viewed the Tehran incident with grave concern, particularly because of the clear electronic disruption caused by the unidentified craft. To this day, the full CIA file on the Tehran incident has never been fully released. So even though they might think they know what it is, they're not releasing all the information, which is so much the case with a lot of their files. The entire incident of the Tic Tac, the Go Fast, and the gimbal. There's still so much of each of those incidents that are held back and redacted, classified.
Yeah.
And yet, those are some of the most publicly known incidents right today. This incident in 1976 was probably the equivalent of a Tic Tac video back then, or a Go Fast, or a gimbal. Yeah. So, what do you think it was? Well, there's some theories around, and some skeptics have proposed explanations such as meteor activity, yet meteors don't hover, accelerate upward, or shut down fighter jets. The planet Jupiter, an explanation put forward in later years by debunkers, but as Jafari himself said, you can't chase Jupiter at Mach 2. You got a point.
It's a great point.
Technical malfunctions, though this was refuted by engineers and logs from both aircrafts. So the aircrafts weren't messed up before they took flight. They were in pristine condition. Once they got into the sky, then they started having electronic malfunction. Even the U.S. Air Force's Project Blue Book, haha, told you I meant to do that, which ended in 1969 and sought to dismiss most UFO sightings, had no jurisdiction here and no answer. Among UFO researchers, the Tehran incident is considered a case of Type 2 contact involving direct physical and electromagnetic interaction, but no communication or biological encounter. Others go further. Was it a probe, a warning, a test of defense systems? Major Jafari, who would go on to become a general, later testified at the 2007 National Press Club UFO disclosure event in Washington, D.C. There, he again detailed the incident, urging the international community to take the phenomenon seriously. He stated, he saw a craft of unknown origin capable of disabling our most advanced technology. It was intelligent, it was aware, and it acted with purpose.
Wow.
That's a serious statement.
Yeah, that's something.
This case has quite a bit of significance in UFO history. The Tehran UFO incident remains one of the top 5 most credible UFO encounters ever recorded. Here's why. Multiple military witnesses, trained pilots, radar operators, and high-ranking officials all confirm the event. Radar and visual confirmation, independent systems track the same objects. The EM interference for the UFO disabled modern jet systems in midair. Declassified intelligence. Official documents from the DIA and CIA acknowledge the incident and validate its authenticity. Public testimony from witnesses, Jafari and others have spoken openly, even decades later, never once changing their stories. Most UFO cases crumble under scrutiny, but this one does not. Even more remarkably, the U.S. government never offered a conventional explanation. Unlike Roswell or Rendlesham or Phoenix, there's been no debunking campaign, no Air Force press conference, no official excuse, just silence. And in that silence, mystery. So, since that night, 1976, Tehran has changed. The monarchy fell, the U.S. alliance has collapsed, but the memory of that strange object and the craft that danced over the skies and mocked the laws of gravity and control lingers like a cold shadow over history. Was it extraterrestrial, interdimensional, a secret black project? We don't know. But what we do know is this. On a clear night in 1976, something not of this earth entered the airspace of a sovereign nation, disabled its defenses, and left its mark on history. And no one, not the Iranian Air Force, or the U.S. military, not any government agency has been able to explain. So, thank you for joining us on this journey. You've been listening to the Hauntological Society. And if you found tonight's case chilling, fascinating, or mind-bending, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share the mystery with fellow seekers of the strange. And until next time, keep watching the skies. How's that for an ending?
That was great. I loved it.
What do you think of the story?
I think that it's, with me, I know there's something out there. We're not alone.
Yeah.
But, I fear, I guess, they're going to come, blow us up, leave us in destruction.
So you got the War of the Worlds.
I do.
Thing, yeah.
I don't think we're going to live peacefully. I mean, I would like to think we would live peacefully, like, the Star Wars movies or Futurama or some mess like that. But, to think that they could just hover and shut our shit down that quick,
yeah,
we're fucked.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. So, as a mom, that concerns me because I want to see my children grow old.
Right.
And, I can only imagine the men who flew those crafts knew that it was their job to go seek and find out what was causing this with, I guess, maybe thrill of what they're going to find, but also a big pit in their stomach.
Yeah.
As to, what it could do to them when they got there.
Yeah.
So,
it's a big UFO case.
That is a big
it's equivalent to Roswell.
So what do you think about it?
I believe it. I think with the U.S. military taking notice of it, with their, whatever input that they put into it, the Iranian government putting their input into it. Cooperation with, like it said, radar, civilians, trained pilots. That one guy who's now a major and still going to UFO conferences and talking about it. Something happened. You don't.
Yeah.
If if you go through something like that, you tell a story like that you're making up, it's fake. You don't just go through and like tell the story and then continue to tell the story. Usually those stories will fizzle away, but if it hangs around and has some like meat to it, something happened, something important happened, and I hope they continue to look to find out what it was. I hope one day that they will release the information to us that will prove to us once and for all what's happening. Because I'm one of those. I believe they know more,
Oh, or
but
then people wouldn't be classified, or they wouldn't be able to only give a certain amount of information.
yeah, but they had a lot from us, and
I know that's to keep from panic and causing people to freak out, but at the same time, we deserve to know.
I'm ready. I'm ready for them to speak the truth about what's going on in our skies with full transparency.
Because how do we protect ourselves if we don't know what we're up against?
But that's just it. We can't like you say protect ourselves from an attack if we don't understand what's happening.
And that's what scares me.
Yeah, they need to start. They need to come clean and let us know what's happening. Well, I guess that about does it for that episode. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate you guys. Listen, I do want to say this one thing before I go. I recently changed the Facebook pages. I've put out a little campaign to try to like grow that community, and you guys answered. We have blown up over this past week specifically. So everybody who's joined us and everybody who's coming over here to listen to our show, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
And tell your friends, get your friends over there. If you know one person that likes those stories, share it with them and tell them that they can come over and enjoy some good stories with us. And hopefully, you guys will start sharing some stories with us, so that we can turn around and tell your story again on the podcast. So send us emails at thehonologicalsociety@gmail.com. We want all your emails.
Or we could invite them to tell their story on air with us.
Yeah, that's a possibility. The possibilities are, as they say,
Possible.
yeah, possible
The possibilities are possible.
and endless. But yeah, so we are almost to 100 followers on the Facebook page, and I think that's pretty cool considering how tiny we started out. We started out from nothing, and we've grown it. And I see everybody who's listening to the show. I can see the schematics on that, and it's looking good. So everybody, keep it up. Keep helping us grow. We're getting there. The other thing is, don't forget our store. We have shirts for sale, properties with our logo, shirts,
Property.
hoodies. Yeah, I don't know what I was talking about.
Damn, we selling real estate now?
I meant products. we got products with our logo on it. We got shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, stickers, and more to come. I'm working on a new logo to put a couple more shirts out. So just keep going over there, and I can only put up so many at a time on that storefront. And so maybe I'll just try to start like rotating them through. And if you guys want to give me some feedback on what you think is your favorite, let me know. In fact, once you go through the show notes and look at all our photos that I've created for us, and tell me which one's your favorite, and I'll put them on a fucking t-shirt for you. Like my favorite is the Satanic Panic at the Disco. So that's going to be on a shirt one day. So keep an eye out for that. What else? Oh yeah, like, subscribe, hit that notifications button so you know when all our new episodes drop. And the end of this episode is turned into a rambling fit, self-promotion, but it is what it is because we're trying to grow and we're trying to keep doing this. So with that being said, I'm Eric.
I'm Wendy.
We're out.